Huge welcome to all of you. It's so great to see people from all corners of South Africa and indeed Africa and even the globe today. So that's truly exciting because it just tells me that SECURA Traveller is certainly getting out there, which was the intention all along. Just to add to what Natalia mentioned about housekeeping, we will be, as you said, it's recorded so we can all share content and revisit the webinar later. But also there's going to be some material that we're going to share, some tools that we're going to show you that are actually currently available on the SECURA Traveller website. But obviously we'll make those available earlier. We're going to be chatting. We've got until about 12:30. But we'll be sure to leave ample time for questions that we can answer later on in the session. And then lastly, this is something you all know, please keep yourselves on mute for the duration, or you might just find yourselves being gently muzzled by one of our friendly hosts. Okay, so just to get started, as Natalia suggested, I'm hosting the webinar today. It's my first rodeo hosting, so bear with me. I'm normally just a panelist. I'm currently the chair of the SATSA Safety and Security Committee on the one hand, and I've specialized in tourism risk management over the last many years, working with the likes of SATIB, SATSA, other leading associations, as well as corporates and travelers alike to minimize risk. Natalia needs no introduction, but I'm going to remind you all how lucky we are to have her here today. Natalia is the CEO of traveling marketing company Big Ambitions, but she is also a contagiously restless and innovative professional that challenges the status quo, often bringing together difficult concepts to build better solutions. She is an absolute master communicator, a strategic thinker, and can create calm within a storm, which is very useful in today's topic. Natalia's superpowers, certainly undoubtedly her true grit, and her ability to multitask like no other. So, Natalia, honored to have you here today. Hanali,
where did you get all that stuff from?
Doesn't need any introduction, is our other superwoman here today. Hanali is tourism. She really is. She's served the industry for the last 7 years as the SATSA COO. And for those of you who don't know SATSA, they are our voice for South Africa's inbound tourism, but so much more. I'm convinced she's cloned herself because it's physically impossible for one person to consistently process the volume of work at the high level of professionalism and care that she does. Her greatest passions are tourism development and promoting Destination South Africa. And her superpower, in my opinion, is servant leadership, a rare quality today. And her ability to connect people and resources from seemingly different worlds to ensure better outcomes constantly. Hanali is the proudest South African I know. Hanali, thanks for being with us today. All right, so just very quickly, today we're going to be enjoying an interactive webinar. So I really want you to jot ideas down, jot questions down, pop them in the Q&A box so that we can discuss them later on. We're going to test drive the SECURA Traveller app so that you can see firsthand how travelers, SECURA Traveller provides visitors and guests with security, safety, and peace of mind. We're going to showcase the user experience in a step-by-step manner, highlighting key features and benefits as we go. And basically what I want out of this session, what we want out of this session, is to empower you to confidently position SECURA Traveller as a premier solution for safe travel in South Africa. Natalia is going to lead and discuss the National Tourism Communications Plan, emphasizing key safety and security messaging. She's also going to present the SECURA Traveller Toolkit, which promotes the adoption of SECURA Traveller across the industry. And then lastly, but I would say arguably most importantly, the aftermath of an incident is crucial, as crucial as the initial response. So Hanali is going to detail the SECURA Traveller's end-to-end aftercare support that follows an incident and ensures that there's physical and emotional support for those that are involved in incidents, because we know they do happen. Okay, so I am going to attempt to just share a screen, which I'm going to do right now, and make sure I get this right. Give me a thumbs up if that's all good. All right, so just a little recap on SECURA Traveller. And I'm going to whiz through a couple of slides because we've had a number of webinars on the app, so we should all know what it does, but here it goes anyway. So there's three pillars. It's prevention and preparation. We work tirelessly at ensuring we've got partnerships both at local and national networks, involving private sector led, but also government sector support, provincial safety units, SAP, policing forums, community forums in your local areas, hospitals, obviously, embassies, etc. We are building more and more training and education material to make sure that tourism operators, travelers, essentially our community, are aware of how to travel safety within our destination. And obviously that requires ongoing communication and marketing. The other pillar is reaction, which is really the foundation of what SECURA Traveller was built on. And SECURA Traveller essentially brings an on-demand smart technology. It's equipped with GPS location. It instantly notifies and deploys nearest response unit at the touch of a button. Okay, the other and third pillar, like I say, equally important, is aftercare. We know we can't prevent emergencies happening. We can reduce them in time, hopefully, but we can't prevent them happening. But what we can do is we can control the effective response and aftercare of victims, and how we look after them so that they can leave our country knowing that they were looked after. Okay, so that's the third pillar. So SECURA Traveller, just a quick recap. Like I say, it's linked to over 280 security companies, over 60 medical response companies, that between them have got over 2,000 vehicles, or 2,500 vehicles, close to 4,000 response operators. And that network is growing because we're starting to, it was just last week, not going to name drop, but John from Addo, Alderman, has pushed through all his resources and they're chatting to SECURA Traveller. So when a traveller notifies or activates SECURA Traveller, they now can be directly put in touch with security and response teams in the PE and Addo area as well. So that network's growing. You can help us grow that as well. National coverage for our services. And then how it works very briefly. It's controlled smartphone device. We've all got one. The app is obviously downloaded onto your smartphone. It can also be connected to a panic button, which is just like a remote that you might have for your gates and whatnot. And they are synced, but they can be held separately. So you can leave your phone at home and go for a walk with the button and it would still work. So the button is really for drivers and guides. It's impractical to try and deliver that into the travelers' hands. So the travelers would typically use the smartphone, and you'd find our local operators and guides are the ones that are snapping up the panic button. It's just a little added security. Then we've got our control center that sees a screen like this, very standard operations control center. And then the actual emergency responders, if you've all traveled in Uber or Bolt, I'm quite sure. So they would have devices in their vehicle and it operates exactly the same. So at the push of a button, the 5 closest respond vehicles are alerted, or one of them responds immediately, not always like the other brands, like Uber and Bolt. You're not going to get left for 15 minutes. The average response time's 6 minutes for security and 15 minutes for medical. Okay, you will know who's arriving, what they're arriving in, and they will have all your details because you would have plugged that into your device as well. That's the Ops Center, which the Minister visited last year in October, and she was absolutely delighted with what she saw. We're piggybacking off the resources and infrastructure for Business Against Crime South Africa, and we've built tourism services on top of this. There's also a 24-hour tourism hotline that plugs into the Ops Center in case you don't have the app. But obviously, it doesn't have the advantages of GPS location, etc., etc. So we encourage the app download. The Ops Center then connects you to a network of a national incident control group, of which Hanley, myself, and Natalia are members. And then Hanley will tell you how it then kicks off from there to access our aftercare and victim support services. Naturally, reporting is a very, very important part of things, because the better information we can get, we fold this back into the preparation side, so we can better prepare ourselves, better resource areas, tourism hotspots, etc., to minimize and mitigate incidents where they are occurring more frequently. Right, so that was the little update on SECURA Traveller. I hope it all makes sense. So now I'm just going to take you on how to access SECURA Traveller. So we have got a website, which I'm just going to call it up quickly. It's www.securatraveller.co.za.
Andrea, are you sharing? Oh,
Very, very simple.
There you go.
It's simple, easy to navigate. And this is where you go and purchase your app. So there's some basic information here, which I've already mentioned to you. You can purchase the app, and there are 2 subscriptions. The one is a 365-day annual membership for 350 Rand. It's a massively subsidized rate. And really why we've done that is because we want it to be in the hands of every single guide, every single driver that is hosting clients around the country. And if you've got a B&B, you can clip it onto your key rings. Let's get innovative in terms of how we get it out there. So that's the annual subscription. And then you get the 30-day subscription, which is really there for travelers. Okay, it's 49 Rand. It can go from month to month if need be. But essentially, that's 49 Rand. What we're seeing now is okay, so we got add to the basket. I click on it. We can add it to our basket. You can purchase as many of these as you want. So quantity, over here you can see you can buy 1, you can buy 100, you can buy 500. What we're having as operators are essentially purchasing a number of coupons, and they are then, I went a step ahead, they are then adding it to their booking confirmation. So once you've got your itinerary together, so here we go, sorry. Once you've got your itinerary together, you've got your stash of coupons that you purchased, and you send it across you gift the guests on your booking confirmation to say, on arrival in South Africa, please download this app for peace of mind during your travel. Okay, so that's the one way you can do it, or you can obviously send the link to the clients to purchase themselves. But truly, for 49 Rand, I really think as South African tour operators, it's our duty to make sure that we're putting it in the hands of the clients. So I can go and buy 3 coupons, add it to my basket. I think you've all done this on Take-A-Lot or whatever the case might be. It's the same process. It takes you through to a checkout page where you proceed to checkout. It moves you through into PayFast account, which I think you're all familiar with. You fill out a little bit of detail, and away you go. You get emailed your vouchers, and then you distribute them as and when or how you see fit. Okay. Along with that, you get a download step-by-step download instructions, which is very, very simple. And really, you enter your details, your mobile number. It accepts foreign numbers and local numbers. You will receive an OTP just to validate the download. That OTP will only arrive if you connect it to a national connectivity provider. All right. And reason being, we want people to download it in South Africa for 2 reasons. A, the coupon starts ticking. Time starts ticking once you've entered your coupon code. But then also, a lot of people will change to a local SIM, so the number won't then be relevant. So just wait to download it once they get into South Africa. You'll be asked to share your location, obviously, because it's GPS driven. And then there will be a simple walkthrough, and then you'll be allowed to test it before you enter your coupon. And I'm going to take you through a little test now, just to show you the response time. And I haven't let anybody know from the Ops Center what we're doing today. I promise Scouts Honor. So you'll get an idea of what the real-time response is on the app. Then obviously, once it's loaded, you will enter your coupon code, and then you live. Okay, and then you can add to your profile. It's quite important, like anything, all apps you're on. Add your medical insurance detail, your travel insurance detail. You can even add the registration number of your vehicle. And that becomes then immediately available to the operator when the app is triggered. Okay, so I'm just going to, so if you'll just let me, I'm not sure how this is going to necessarily work over the story, but I'm going to try and be as honest and transparent as I can. This is the app on my phone. I'm going to put it through to test, okay? And I hope you can hear me when this goes, but I'm going to literally press the security button now. All right, so it's gone. All right, and on my screen, it says your test has been created. Please expect an immediate call to confirm you are safe. All right, so there you go. That's my gorgeous Bushrack phone call. I'm going to answer it, and I'm not sure if you can still hear. Hi there. Hello. Yes, hi, it's a test. Yes, I'm testing. It's 1307. Could you let me know where the closest response vehicle is? The closest response vehicle, please. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm not sure how much of that you necessarily heard. Natalia, can you still hear me? Hi there. Sorry, I'm not sure how much of that you heard. It's tricky to communicate, but you saw that I got a call within probably 10 seconds. I got a call from the Ops Center. The conversation was essentially, obviously, they identified me, they identified my location, and they told me that the closest response was a Fidelity vehicle, which was 4 minutes away. So all of that information is immediately available to the Ops Center and the user. All right. So that's really what I wanted to cover in today's or my part of the discussion. And I haven't got the chat box in front of me, but Natalia, should we go through some questions now, or should we wait for the end?
Sure, Andre, if you're wanting to take some questions now, if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A folder, or you can put them in the chat. I will start with the ones that are in the Q&A folder, and it's a very pertinent one, Melanie, the panic button. Where can we get the panic button for guides?
Panic button is, you just email info@securatraveller.co.za. It'll come through to me and we place manual orders.
Okay, we have, can you change the phone number once registered?
No, it's per device, per number.
Okay, is there an option if you purchase, let's say, 10 vouchers to check which ones have been redeemed and which ones not?
Yes, there is. We can do a report and we'll see once you've entered the coupon code, it's considered used. It doesn't, yeah. So coupon code, if it's used, it's done.
Okay, cool. We had a question around, is it only valid in South Africa or elsewhere? For now, it is only South Africa.
Only South Africa now, but we're looking at extending it through to Namibia. The actual underlying platform is available in East Africa and SADC, but we're building aftercare services in those areas.
Does the yearly subscription come with the panic button?
No, panic button is bought separately.
Okay, well, what about motor vehicle breakdowns?
It doesn't cover, so interesting. There's a stand by me service. So if you break down, a security vehicle can be alerted to come and stand by you for security purposes, but they're not going to bring you petrol or change your tire.
Oh, that's disappointing. No more of those where I'm driving on fumes, hoping that I'll get to the next. No, okay, fine. Good to know. Great. Is the response time the same for remote areas?
No, I think logically we can conclude that it might be, but I think we can say that, you know, that is largely metropolitan and urban areas. However, we've got fantastic teams set up in Hoedspruit, Palabora, Hazyview, Addo. So if you are in an outlying area or remote area, and there's a paramedic in your area or a security company, let us know, and we can ensure you faster response times.
Amazing. A couple of questions around the cost of the panic button. How much?
1,000 Rand.
1,000 Rand. Okay.
Once off.
Once off. Cool. Felix, great question. How about foreign travelers who cannot speak Portuguese? I'm in Lisbon, that's why I'm thinking that. How about foreign travelers that cannot speak English properly?
So Natalia will touch, Haneli will touch on this a little later. We have a network of translators. One of them happens to be on your screen right now. But yes, we have Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, German, Dutch, pretty much all covered. If there's a guide in South Africa that's guiding a foreign language, they're available to us.
Cool. If you, just a reminder, if you want to ask a question, please put it in the Q&A folder for me rather than in the chat. I will try to get to the ones in the chat. Those of you who are raising your hands, I won't come to you verbally. So just put your hand down and stick your question in the Q&A folder for me, please. Okay, what if you don't have reception on the mountain, for example? Can you still use it? And is there an option to request emergency response without a callback in case of a robbery, for example? Good question, Olivia.
Good question. So areas without connectivity, I'm afraid no response company will be able to meet your needs. So connectivity is key. And then the other question is about requesting a callback. No, I'm afraid we can't sort of look through that crystal glass and determine which clients need a callback and which don't. All clients will get callbacks. If there's not an answer, the security vehicle and medical vehicle are dispatched regardless. That call from the incident management center isn't to trigger the response or dispatch the vehicle. It's just to check up on you.
Okay. All right. Juliet, please, can you run us through an example? If we own a guest house, would we buy one membership for 350 Rand for the guest house? And then how would it work for the different guests?
Yeah, so the guest house, we are working through this. There's certain aspects of this plane we're building as we go. But the guest house would have multiple key rings as we envisage, and then that would be linked to a number. So that would go, it would send a GPS location so that they were in town, but then we can't have the phone call going through and swapped to each and every one of those guests. So that would probably be linked to the guest house owned.
But it's a great
remember that the dispatch would still go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great option for a guest house or a B&B to have several of these panic buttons, for example, have the subscription and then to hand it to, I mean, it really is great. Okay, Darla, do you assist with any type of situation, medical, life-threatening, etc.?
Yeah, medical and all security related are all covered, and the stand by me, obviously. Okay. And there's no additional charge for the dispatch. No extra ambulance fees, no extra response call-out fees, nothing like that.
Cool. I assume you need cell phone reception. Yes, we have said that. Or will your GPS info be shared? No, we need cell phone reception, Jared. Lucy Marie, can we try and get the AA on board for vehicle breakdowns? Nice idea.
Yeah, we can. It's the AA are linked to another app that they run through car hire companies and whatnot in their membership. But at the moment we focus largely on the security side.
Okay. What happens if the client does not answer their call after they've pressed the panic button?
The response is dispatched regardless.
Okay. Is the limiting factor around downloading and activating only the 30-day validity, so we can get guests to download and activate a few days before arrival?
No, they can activate before arrival, as long as they're going to be using that number when they're traveling and they don't swap the SIM.
Okay. And if that number is an international number, Andre, would they still get a call back?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously they need to have roaming, but one would expect them
Yes.
to have some sort of roaming. Okay. We organize school tours. Will this be available for schools per school tour?
Yes, we can chat. For me, we don't distinguish. It's inbound and it's domestic travel. And we know how much schools tour around the country. And so I would say, yes, very applicable.
Okay, Annalise, your question I'm actually going to respond to a little bit later. And the question is, can we get a brochure to print and put in guest rooms? So I will deal with that when I'm running through my submission. Thank you for that question. James, can you add a private number to the emergency call? I'm not sure. So the private number, I mean, it would be the cell phone number that's linked, surely.
So the emergency call would be whoever's registered as the subscriber, obviously. You could, in the profile, add a next of kin. That would be a notification.
Okay.
Does that answer the question? I'm not sure.
Maybe just let us know if we haven't. Oh, so you can advise another person or next of kin.
It would be in your profile, yeah. But our primary focus is to make sure that the situation is stabilized.
Yeah.
So we're not going to phone auntie or uncle while we're getting the job done first, and we can always let them know once we've got the situation in hand.
Yeah. Okay, will response be able to trace your location if you only have the panic button or in the event that your cell phone is stolen?
So if your cell phone is stolen, no, we can't be tracking that cell phone. That's an alternative service, I would think. The panic button, if it's activated, it sends a GPS location every 20 seconds or every 2 minutes for 20 minutes.
How long are pre-purchased or unused coupons valid for?
Indefinitely.
Fabulous. Okay, do you have a map of where services are set up, which would be useful to guide clients?
Yeah, it's on the website.
Okay, SECURA Traveller Proposal.
On the app, on the app you can see once you've downloaded live locations.
Great, and you can see the address, the website address here on the screen, guys, www.securatraveller.co.za. All the information you need will be there. Nontobeko, we will be sharing this presentation along with the recording, so you will have access to this information. Is the panic button linked to one cell number, or must a tour operator buy several yearly subscriptions and buttons for guides? I think we've answered that question. How is this advertised to visitors, as this needs to be paid and downloaded by them to use within the borders of South Africa? Heidi, I will deal with that question a little bit later. Mohammed, for a client who has travel health insurance, what is the extent of the assistance you can provide? Great question. We had an example of that earlier in December. Andre, go for it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we provide the immediate response and stabilization, get you to the hospital door if necessary, saying it's a medical situation. Thereafter, the individual's travel insurance or medical insurance should kick in. But it's a pretty scary space, and travelers are often traveling without sufficient cover. But Hanley will touch on that, I'm sure.
Okay. How can local municipality get involved to educate our visitors and also link to the control room? So to educate visitors, I'll deal with that in my session. Andre, do you want to respond linked to the control room?
Absolutely. I mean, we're happy to share details. We are private sector led in terms of our response services. It's just the model that we've incorporated. If we do not have response services available, we do notify SAPs who take over. But by all means, connect with me and we can discuss a solution for you.
Okay. how can local municipality access this app and secure it for our tourists entering our area? I don't know that you would be able to secure it for all your tourists, but you would be able to promote it. But I will deal with that in the session that I'm going to be doing. Leanne, if you are based on a large property and a guide is still on site with guests and there is an emergency, is there a way to load one additional internal contact number to call in addition to emergency response so we are also aware?
Yes, if you've got a next of kin number in the profile, the aftercare team would then connect with your next of kin or whatever the case might be, make them aware of the situation.
Okay, and Anonymous, this is the question of the day. I wish I knew who Anonymous was, that I could give them a hug at the next show that I'm at. You're going to love this question, Andre. Best question. I see on Google Play there are 2 app options, SECURA Traveller and SECURA. Is there a difference?
Yes, there is. So we have, they both work with the same platform. SECURA, people we originally partnered with, but we needed to white label it for tourism. So SECURA Traveller is definitely the app that you want. Thanks for the question. This other SECURA app is not linked to any tourism, aftercare services, translation services, anything like that. And we've also got a broader network in terms of tourism hotspots.
Okay, so don't forget, guys, it's SECURA Traveller. That is the app to download. SECURA Traveller, not SECURA, SECURA Traveller. Okay, yes, Mohammed, Andre has an echo on his background. We are aware of that, so apologies for it. There is a reason behind it, so you'll have to just bear with us, but it's not, I haven't found it to be, what's the word? I haven't found it to be that distracting, so all good. And I think it's my turn to go now anyway, huh, Andre?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay, off I go. Thanks for Mohammed. All right, so let me just see if I'm going to be sharing the right screen here. Some of you will probably have already seen a more extensive presentation about this. I'm just going to run into a little of it, to be honest, and then just give you a little bit of tips on how we're using SECURA Traveller from a marketing perspective. Those of you who have seen the crisis comm strategy already, not a bad thing for you to hear it back again, because you guys are the foot soldiers on the ground. You are the guys who are phoning me on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock in the evening and telling me that somebody's gone missing or there's been a robbery somewhere. And it's because of what you are doing that we are able, in part, to get that information to the people who can then help them quickly. So I'll run through this again. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to throw them into the Q&A folder and in the chat. But if you remember nothing from my presentation other than this, you are the foot soldiers, and it is your responsibility to communicate with us when something has gone wrong so that we can lean in and help. Okay, so the crisis comm strategy we put together at, I think last year, October already, presented it to the minister in October, and we started rolling it out. Why do we do it? So that we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, basically, and we're not running around chaotically because we're on the back foot and we haven't been planning. So the crisis communication strategy has 3 main aims. One is to protect the tourism sector from crises, because obviously when someone gets hurt, we see things in the media and in social media, it blows up, and then our tourism industry suffers. And of course, yes, we feel empathy for the person and their family who were affected, but we want to mitigate the impact to our tourism industry as well. The second thing that it does is it helps to manage and mitigate the impact of that crisis. So a little bit like Andre was talking about now, where you are triaging essentially the emergency situation. From a media perspective, this is also about triage. This is not about promoting the destination. It's not about reputation management. It is to deal with the actual crisis at the moment. And then lastly, to establish an aligned strategy for public and private sector stakeholders, so we are singing off the same hymn sheet. Similar to what Andre was saying, you need to be prepared, because if you're prepared, then you're not on the back foot and you're not scrambling around trying to find all the people who are going to be involved. And so we talk about 3 different areas of crisis communication phases. The first one is around preparedness, and this, for example, is an example of preparedness, where we are sharing with you some of the messaging, sharing with you the strategy, sharing with you how you can be involved, looking at the risks, what risks exist, and mapping those and seeing what we would do in that space. Then we have the response phase, which is that triage that I was talking about, where someone phones me up and says, we can't find this tourist. I perhaps notify the National Emergency Response. They're on it. I'm making sure that I'm monitoring media to see if anything has happened. So that is just understanding where we are at the moment and then dealing with those media inquiries so that you do not have to. The media comes through to me. And then lastly, we go into the recovery phase where we talk about supporting the industry through reputation management, just assessing whether or not we got it right or what we got wrong, and then promoting the destination so we start recovering. So there are 3 key phases that need to happen. We talk about low impact, medium impact, and high impact crises. Obviously, if something is low impact, I'm not going to give it as much attention as something that is high impact. Typically, something that is high impact, it will have a national focus. And generally speaking, we would then loop in national organizations like the Tourism Business Council, the Department of Tourism, etc. If it had a medium impact, it would probably be more from a provincial level that would be involved. Sometimes at a low impact, the province will also be involved, depending on the extent of the issue. Local private sector, so maybe in Mpumalanga, Kruger-Lowveld would weigh in. And then from a low impact perspective, it might be the city, it might be the town, it might be the province, as I've said. And then certainly it could be like the SATSA chapter, for example, for the Eastern Cape, or it might be the local tourism association in that particular area. So it just all depends on the actual size of the impact. This is very important, and I want you guys to remember this messaging, and I'll have some do's and don'ts in a little while. When you're on the back foot and you're panicking, you immediately say the wrong thing, right? Because you haven't actually thought about it, and that's why being prepared is so important. But there are some key things that you need to remember, and that is never to downplay the severity of the crisis or dismiss concerns. So, oh, well, the tourist should never have been there in the first place, or we've told our tourists that they shouldn't do this, or why was he walking around with a camera around his neck? Yes, all of these things are incredibly obvious, but they are also, if you mention that publicly, you might be thinking it doesn't really lead with empathy, and you'll get yourself into a little bit of hot water. Always provide accurate and up-to-date information. Do not speculate, because that just doesn't help anyone. So all of these WhatsApp groups that we're all on, when we are sharing a message, which is great that we're sharing the message, what tends to happen is everybody leans in, and then there's comments, and that's, from my perspective, possibly not that helpful, because I'm trying to fight a fire here, and I've got lots of little fires going off on WhatsApp. So I can't pay attention to both of them at the same time. More constructive would be for you to share it with us or with Andre or with Hanley, and we can then deal with it, than speculating on a WhatsApp group, for example. Always demonstrate empathy for those who are affected by the crisis, not just the person who was injured, but also their family and friends. And Hanley has a great example of how SATSA did that during an incident with some Brazilian tourists in Durban. And I might touch on that a little bit later, because it was really, actually, I'll touch on it now. We had a Brazilian group who were in a very, very bad car accident, and their English was not particularly good. We struggled to, over several days, we struggled to get them what they needed. There was an issue with the insurance paying out. Mpumalanga Tourism and Kruger-Lowveld were amazing, and they supplied a crisis person who assisted, and Hanley will talk to that in a little while. I helped with a little bit of translation. And we really managed to keep the people who were there safe, but also Hanley then stepped up during the December holidays, went to the airport, met the guys who had arrived to go through to the location to see their loved ones. And really, we supported them over a 2-week period. So there was a level of empathy, I think, that you would not get anywhere else in the world. So Hanley will speak to that. And I really want to pay tribute to what she did at the time, because it was really, really heartfelt and a masterclass in crisis management. Time is critical. You cannot wait. So, oh, well, we'll wait until tomorrow and see if media has released something. Sorry, guys, that's not how it works. We need to be very quick. Avoid making promises you can't guarantee. Oh, that never happens here. You'll be safe there. Don't worry about that. You can never say that. And then please don't speak to journalists. But if you absolutely have to speak to journalists, because I've gone to the moon, and always, if you want, forward me the journalist inquiry, even if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. But if you have to speak to them, do not respond to their questions, because the journalist will have in their own idea the angle that they want to take. And if you respond to question by question by question, you've literally just opened the gate and the horses are bolting. Rather tell them what it is you want them to hear or what it is that you want to say. Don't answer every question that they have. You need to be consistent and say what it is that you want to communicate to every single journalist. Okay. So what we have done as a crisis comms team, and there are 3 of us, is we have put together templates which make it very quick for us to create press releases. We have all of this messaging for anything that goes wrong. And we shift the messaging based on what's happening. So obviously your message is going to be different in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. It's not going to be the same, and we are aware of what that looks like. Some of the key points in the messaging, not to do not say crime is a reality everywhere and is not unique to South Africa. Our destination is still safer than others. It's not true. If it is true, we can't guarantee it. Those travelers should have known better not to go there, self-drive, do X or Y. They should have been more careful. It is not our fault that that area is unsafe, and there's very little we can do about it. This will never happen again. We will take measures to ensure that tourists are completely safe when visiting. People are blowing this completely out of proportion. It's not as bad as they're saying. And the last one, especially for media, but hopefully you won't be speaking to media, is we do not have any comment. Do's, we hold the safety and security of our guests at the pinnacle of the tourism industry's efforts. So we are working together as a team to keep our travelers safe. To that end, both government and private sector are pouring an inordinate amount of resource and time into safety measures to keep our tourists safe. So we have tourism monitors, we have SECURA Traveller. Hanley and I did not have a holiday over December because we worked straight through for crisis. So there are people who are working behind the scenes to make sure that people are as safe as possible, or if we cannot keep them safe, we can keep them protected after the event. We believe in empowering our visitors with the necessary information to ensure their safety. Don't go here, don't do this, etc., etc. I know that you might think, oh, you're scaring them off, but they're in the country, so it is your duty of care to make sure that you do not direct them to a place that is unsafe. We maintain a transparent line of comms about safety measures to keep travelers well informed, and this is why we are giving you all of this information, so you can tell your travelers there's SECURA Traveller. So you can tell them we have tourism monitors, we have translators, etc., etc. And then South Africa, believe it or not, is flavor of the month, and I see it in loads of different publications, great popularity about travelers, with noteworthy accolades like the 2023 Telegraph Awards, but there have been more this year. So use that to your advantage. For the festive season, we had a crisis comms team, and that's still in play at the moment. We have Zara Nicholson, who's the minister's spokesperson. We have Tandiwe Matibela from SA Tourism and myself. We work very well together as a team, and we have a contact list of provincial and local tourism. We know who the focal points are when something goes wrong. We work with the National Incident Management Team. We've updated all the templates, so we have everything ready in case something happens, so we can be quick. We have the talking points that we speak to media. We have a crisis comms plan that can roll out, so we're not running around like headless chickens. We keep very close tabs on what is being published, but if you see anything that has been published as an article in a foreign language media or anything, please feel free to forward that to me. I'll leave my phone number in the chat a little bit later. You are my eyes and ears, not just to report on what is happening, but to give me the media articles that you are seeing, and then keeping you aware of what's going on, so the progress and approach. And those of you who are on the SATSA crime WhatsApp group or safety WhatsApp group, you will see me providing updates on what is happening. To activate the team, this is just the process from a crisis comms perspective. What normally happens is the National Incident Management Team or one of you guys will send me a message on WhatsApp, and you'll say, this has happened. I don't have any information. Can you find out blah, blah, blah? I then activate the comms team, and we then find out who the right people are to give us the information that's going on the ground. We assess whether it is a high, medium, or a low impact issue. We then involve the stakeholders who are involved at whatever level needs to be involved. And then we inform the incident management team as we're going along based on what we found. We then execute that comms plan. So we prepare the messaging. Normally it's a holding statement that is not distributed to press. We only speak to media if media comes to us. So we had an incident on the weekend We prepared a holding statement. That holding statement, touch wood, has not needed to go out because the media have not made an inquiry and it has not been in media. And then we send that updated release to the stakeholders who are involved, and then continue to liaise with the incident management guys so that as the crisis evolves, we're just changing the comms temperature as we go along. We also monitor for media reports to see if there's anything that's been reported on it, both in social media and media. And that literally is the process. I mean, it's actually quite simple. When you've done it 100 times, you don't stop breathing because you're like, oh, this is happening. You just go into kind of robot mode and you get it done. But know that there is a team behind the scenes to help you with this, so that you do not need to do this, okay? And there are people in the country who know this very well. And because they know it and they send us this comms very quickly, we can handle this on their behalf, and they then do not need to worry about it. They can focus on the crisis. SECURA Traveller. We have developed a toolkit that you can use. And to respond to some of the questions about how do you promote this, there are certain marketing collateral that you can take and use and to advise your customers about, or your guests or your visitors if you are a municipality or a town. We needed to create a toolkit because we wanted it to be really easy for you to communicate about SECURA Traveller, but also for you to communicate consistently about SECURA Traveller. So there is a business to business element and there is a business to consumer element. And what's great about these coupons is that they can be purchased at a reduced rate for tourism businesses. So if you're a driver, guide, tourist staff, etc., you can download and purchase your coupon code. So this is all about spreading awareness about SECURA Traveller App and its features. It's about enhancing the safety and security for travelers and the industry. It's about marketing the assets that exist here so we can make sure that there's widespread adoption. We have a national hotline number and we have a SECURA Traveller website. We have a guide to downloading and activating the app. And we're trying to empower you with assets so that you can plug into your existing marketing strategies to bolster the initiatives, the security initiatives that we've got. So how to promote SECURA Traveller? Well, like anything with comms, if you say it over and over and over again, and it's the same message, the message lands, right? So this is all about empowering your travelers, your guests, your staff, and telling them how to be safe. So what we want to do, though, is to make sure that there's a balance between the importance of safety, but also instilling fear. So presenting SECURA Traveller as more of something that is an assistant or something that is positive, instead of constantly reminding the travelers of their potential risks. I'm in Lisbon at the moment, beautiful city. There are parts of Lisbon that I will walk in and there are parts of Lisbon that I will not walk in. I know that because I come to Lisbon often, but if I was staying in a guest house, I would want my guest house owner to tell me to avoid that area and to rather go to that area. You are doing right by your client. You have a duty of care to your client to give them information to empower them to be safe. Where do you find the toolkit? You can download it on www.securatraveller.co.za. This presentation, along with Andre's presentation and Hanli's presentation, will be available with this recording. So you can just go, and I'm talking very quickly because we have very little time. You can go to securatraveller.co.za and get all of the information. There is a link at the footer of the website called Trade Toolkit, and that is where you will find the Trade Toolkit that I'm going to present to you. What you will do is you will download the toolkit and it will give you access to some digital marketing assets like banners. You can see on the right-hand side, you've got a whole bunch of stuff there, stickers, digital displays. Let's say you've got a TV in your lounge area, or you wanted to put it on the TV in the guest rooms. There are social media assets if you wanted to put it on your social media of different sizes. There are newsletter and social media copy ideas, so you can copy and paste the text and use that. There are front of house promo collaterals, could be little pop-ups, or it could be little brochure stands or table tents, etc. And then there's a step-by-step activation guide. So we've given you things that you could PDF and laminate. We've given you stuff that you can print. We have given you like a whole bunch of different things, basically. Okay, so this is an example of the table tent. It helps to promote SECURA Traveller App to arriving travelers in hotel reception areas, car rental desks, tourism offices. If you are a tourist office, an info office in your town, you might want to have this somewhere. You might want to have a poster, or perhaps you've got a display like this, a digital display in a reception area. The QR code is there, so it's very easy for someone to scan it. The website, you can use, you can promote SECURA Traveller App through advertising on your website. We've given you little banners if you want to use it. We've made little leaflets for you that you can print, which is just really kind of quick. There's a QR code on it, tells people what it's about and why they should download it. We have mailers for you that you can send to your clients. You can just download it and upload it to your mailer software. We've got a key card folder for any of the guest house or hotel guys, which has got SECURA on the inside. So that's also a nice little trick. And if there's any collateral that you think would be useful, we're all ears. Very happy to hear about it. I will just add my email address and telephone number in the chat later. How often is it updated? On a quarterly basis and based on what feedback we receive from you. So please do not be shy. Make sure you let us know what we need, or you need rather. I've gone through why we've got it. I mean, I'll just say again, we all have a duty of care to our travelers and to our industry to promote SECURA Traveller, to keep our tourists safe. That is our responsibility, and this is one way for you to do it. So kind of the key messages that we're going for rather, you can see are a little bit more positive, less like, you better make sure you've got this or else. It's like peace of mind in your pocket, convenience, accessibility of safety support, be prepared, stay assured. It's an essential part of smart, proactive travel prep. Encourage travelers to fully embrace the beauty of South Africa, knowing they have a reliable safety net. So explore more, worry less. Traveling the country, not alone. We've got your back. Your safety, our priority, reinforcing our commitment to their well-being. So you can see they're all quite positive messages. And some support details for you. And again, we will share this with you guys. So you've got it. Any questions, go to info@securatraveller.coza. Download the SECURA Traveller Toolkit at securatraveller.coza. You can purchase your travel coupons at securatraveller.coza. Any questions about the toolkit, because it's more marketing related, they come to Big Ambitions, so SECURA Traveller at bigambitions.coza. And then we have a list of FAQs for you that are both consumer facing and trade facing, which are available on the SECURA Traveller website. Okay, I'll shut up now and I'll go to all of the questions. Let's see if there are any questions around marketing. Andre, stand by, because there will be a question about SECURA Traveller. Okay, Hanley, you've been responding. Look at you. Okay, that's awesome. Andre, are you still there? Okay, cool. Can you just unmute yourself for me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Dala has asked, you mentioned this will be applicable for Namibia shortly. Any other countries like Botswana or Tanzania, etc.?
We take small steps. So we're just focusing on Namibia at now because it's obviously a massive self-drive destination, hence it being our priority. But yes, as soon as we can spin up the aftercare in those countries, we'll be good.
Awesomeness. Okay, no other questions for me, no other questions for you. That means, Hanley, you are up.
Thank you so much, Natalia. I'm going to try and be as slick and fast as you are. I just wanted to see that you guys can see my screen now. Okay, so Andre explained the process and Natalia around the comms. I'm going to touch on that a little bit, but as you will see here, an incident takes place. The SECURA Traveller Operations Center is advised. They connect with the traveler. All of this, Andre has explained. It either gets reported via a hotline, SAPS, associations, members. We're getting it from sort of all of the sides, or reported via the SECURA app. So the basic triage is done, and then immediately they notify what we call national and regional incident control. So here comes the bit that I sort of look after. We have a variety of people. We've got a big database of responsible people in all of the provinces. These include public and private sector partners. So immediately we create a little WhatsApp group. WhatsApp is actually, it's a great sort of communication tool for us to make sure everybody stays on the same thing. The regional incident coordinator, and as I said, we have these in all of the provinces. So for instance, Krugerlouveld, it will be, well, in Mpumalanga, it will be Krugerlouveld. We reach out to them. If there isn't one, we will, sorry, just a second. It's crash day at my house and my dogs are going mad. Give me a second. I'll be
It's either Hannelly's dogs or it's Gillian Saunders' dogs. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A folder or in the chat, or maybe just give us a little bit of an update on what you guys think about all of the stuff that you've heard today.
Okay, thanks so much, Natalia. So once we have the group established, really what happens after that is important. So when I first started dealing with safety and security issues, Andre can vouch for this, I would phone him, I would get the call from somebody on the side of the road or in trauma, and I would get the details, I phone Andre, and then I burst into tears. Now that I've done it a few times, I can stay calm. So when you do burst into tears, please don't feel bad about it. If you know the steps, it's so much easier. And that's why it's critical for us to do this training for all of the guides. So often what we call the traveler ambassador, and I'll just show you quickly next door. Apologies. This is all of the work that the travel ambassador will be doing. But once you have the steps, you really just, you go from one to the next, you stay calm, you're able to offer that assistance. So as I said, we contact the traveler or the tour operator in this case. So very often what we find, instead of a travel ambassador, it will be the driver, guide, whoever is with the tourist at that stage, because they could be quite far away. We had that with an incident in Sun City, although on the road to Sun City, they were on their way to Pilanesberg. And the operator, the guide that was with them, managed the situation, and the operator then sends somebody afterwards to go and have to chat to them. So to be the travel ambassador. One of the first things, and sorry, I'm just going to throw things in between that we've learned over the last little while. What happened is we had a group that was in an incident and they were taken to the police station, and it took 5 hours at the police station. We had everything in place already for the aftercare. We had a safe house or a safe venue for them. We had lunch, drinks, we had counselors available, but they were held up at the police station. So one of the things that we're working with the provincial tourism authorities on is to have that relationship with SAPS, and I'm actually also having a meeting with them tomorrow, to try and rather have the police come out to wherever the clients are. So if you've been in an incident, you just want to be in a safe place. Sitting at a police station really doesn't allow for much comfort. So so we learned quite a few things. We established where they are, what injuries, etc. And then we create our little WhatsApp group. We immediately let Natalia know as well from the comms point of view, so that they can get the holding statements and all of those things ready for us. And we were speaking earlier on about translators. So when that call comes through to the center, and it is in Portuguese, for instance, we also have a list of translators across the country. The nice thing about that, it's really easy to do it telephonically. So, whatever language we need assistance in, we're able to then phone our volunteers from the SATSA network. And if any of you would like to volunteer either as a traveler ambassador or as a translator, please let us know. That database sits with us, and it sits with the SECURA Operations Center. So everybody knows the process. If anything goes wrong, we're able to step in, or anybody's able to step in and to process that. We also then dispatch the nearest travel ambassador. As I said, we keep on updating the WhatsApp group so that we know what is happening there. I am just going to have to close this window. I'm so sorry, everyone.
No worries.
I should never do webinars on a Tuesday, because that's... Ooh.
Note to self, hun. We'll know for next time. Next time you want to do it. And also not a Friday, please.
Yeah, we have to schedule South Africa's crisis management around my dogs, please. Okay, so keep on updating the WhatsApp group for some of the instances, and the provinces have been amazing. The tourism authorities that we have worked with, this all forms part of the larger national tourism strategy, which was developed, or safety strategy, which was developed by the Safety Forum, and on there serves all of the provincial tourism authorities. They all have victim support, some very professional and slick, some still busy developing, and we are assisting them with that. So in an instance where we know, like Krugerloofveld or Westgrow, Band-Aid, etc., where there is great support, we immediately pass it over to them. We don't want to recreate wheels, and I think that's a very important thing to understand in this entire process. We are there to support. We are there to fill the gaps. Not to step on anybody's toes. I would love to never have to speak to the media again, because, oh my goodness, guys, when you get into that situation and the media phones, they pretty much have all of the details already. So it's really difficult to keep getting our message across. But yeah, anyways, we deal with those things. Yeah, so essentially this process is about supporting what is already available and integrating more and more as we go into the future. We also then send out advice on our WhatsApp group. So we have 2 WhatsApp groups for SATSA. The one is a tourism safety network. That is just a publishing group. You can't comment and chat on that, but just to advise, there's a protest here, or there's an incident here, or this road is blocked, or whatever the case is. And then we have the SATSA, I can't remember what it's called now, but Advice Network. There we go, SATSA Advice Network. And there we talk, and so if there's an incident being posted and people need more details, we share it. So the idea around that, and it's really very difficult to walk that fine balance between scaring people and advising people of areas that are at this moment in time perhaps a hotspot. Remember, crime moves around as where the opportunity is. So for instance, there was that dreadful article about the Sun City Road, and it's not the Sun City Road, it's the road that goes to Sun City and Pilanesberg and all of the products over there. They were very active, the criminals, November and beginning of December, and then a fantastic support that Northwest Tourism and Sun City did to make that road safety, with eyes 24/7, eyes and ears, etc., police escorts. But then the criminals saw and they moved away, and they will just go to the next road that's available. So when we say something about an area, it's not that that area is going to be no-go forever. It's for a very small period of time. But anyways, we share that information with you guys so that we keep tourists away from potential areas of crime. So if there is a protest, for instance, if you're on the WhatsApp group, you get your message, you driving to Johannesburg City and there's a protest on Smith Road, you avoid that. When David mentioned this internationally, people were really keen on hearing that there's that kind of support in between, in the industry, in the sector, where we're helping each other out. We've got 800 people on the WhatsApp group at the moment, and they really are, this forms very much of that prevention section of the strategy. If there's an incident, they let us know, we publish it, everybody sort of avoids. If we can avoid it, much better. Okay, then we get now to the travel ambassador. So this is a very important role. This is, and it's played by a few people at this stage. I mean, we're trying to sort of put protocols in place, and we are going to develop this and be a lot slicker going forward, unfortunately, as we experience more of these issues. But different people play different roles, and we just, at the end of the day, as Natalia always says, the tourist comes first. So whatever happens, whoever needs to provide the services, as long as the tourists are okay. So the travel ambassador will then hopefully be able to go out and actually meet with the travelers. And as I said, that could potentially be somebody in the company. And we have this sort of script. This is a part of that script of how you interact with the guests then. So it's gathering information, canceling credit cards, checking for financial, if there was a, an ATM scam or whatever, helping them through that. We also have a relationship with SABRIC, which is the SA Banking Association, and they're very keen to help us on this, something that we do need to develop a little bit further. Make sure that they are comfortable, so shower, meal, clothing, accommodation, etc. The role of the travel ambassador, though, and I just have to be clear about this, it's literally just somebody there to support, like a PA, if you want. It's not a trauma counselor. It's not somebody that's going to be able to magically make everything right. It's an eye, an ear, a flower, a visit at the hospital, etc., just to make sure that they're very comfortable. If I use the Brazilian, the accident that Natalia referred to, and I actually maybe me walk you through that quickly as an example. So the accident happened, they were taken to the local hospital. Mpumalanga Parks and Tourism Agency stepped in, made sure that they had an ambassador there, made sure that the people were accepted at the hospital. What do you call it? I don't know what the English word is for this. Admitted. There we go. That they were admitted, because very often, with private hospitals and stuff, if we don't have that medical information, medical insurance information on the SECURA Traveller, we find it in any case. There's Andre is fantastic at finding stuff and phoning CEOs of insurance companies to make sure that we've got a helicopter or air vac arranged, etc. But it just makes it a lot easier, and that's why I love the fact that we have SECURA Traveller, because the insurance information, next of kin, all of those things are in one place, and we're able to communicate and follow the process much faster. But yeah, admittance to hospital is always a little bit of an issue, especially when it's serious injuries like what we had in that case. Now, the travelers were perfectly looked after. They were in the right place, in the right hands. They had their operations, they had everything, but their family was freaking out. So now that you can imagine, you get a phone call, your father, mother, and sister in hospital in a strange country, etc. And they immediately got on the plane. That was the first thing they did, is they booked their plane ticket. I think the accident happened on Friday evening. On Saturday evening, they were in the air, and by Sunday morning, they arrived here. What we were concerned about is when the family arrives, because when we deal with this, the victim side, it's the entire family. When they arrive at the airport, do they have transport to get to Nelspruit? Do they have accommodation to stay in? Is there a translator available, etc., etc.? So again, working very closely with Department of Tourism, and they've got a really amazing team that supports us on this, Lizzie and Stan and Jeremiah. We got in touch with the embassy and made sure that we then are at the airport with the embassy. As a face of tourism, I did very little that day. Just smiled, said hi, I'm really sorry. Although the one thing that I did get to do, which was so amazing, is the brother, young sort of 20-year-old brother, obviously got off the plane, and when we started talking, he started crying, and I was able to give him a hug. And I swear that was one of the best hugs of my entire life, just to let him know that they're safe. We have like Melissa from Nelspruit, who's sitting at the hospital with them, holding their hands, making sure that they're all right. It's a really nice thing. Now, I know like Angela from GTA has had those families arriving when unfortunately a loved one has passed away, and that's a very different story. But what we do covers everything for the victims and the family, anything that has to do with that. So as I said, the embassies are really great. They make sure that they organize the transport, accommodation, etc. We did help with suggestions. So first in Nelspruit, and then they were brought to Johannesburg, to Milpark. So what is the closest, place to stay? Do they want, a warm, fuzzy home feel at a B&B? Do they want the anonymity, that big word, of a big hotel? Anyway, so we were able to give a little support there. But it was really interesting. And again, as I say, we will be learning the lessons as we go along, unfortunately. So this travel tourism ambassador, in whatever form, whether it's with the victim or with the family or dealing with embassies, etc., we offer this support to them. So we talk about the trauma that they've been through. What I found is this offering of trauma counseling. The day that the event happens, we always offer them, and they mostly say, no, we're fine, because they're so in their shock at that stage. So it's normally 2 or 3 days later that should happen. One of the other incidents that we had was a bus group that was attacked, and we were able to arrange escort services for them to get them back to their hotel here in Johannesburg. And so nothing, at least it was just sort of attacked. Nobody was injured. They didn't get stopped. They didn't get taken away. They managed to get away from the perpetrators. Now, so they were very shocked because gunshots were fired, but because we made sure that they had the escort back, and there were actually 2 escorts in the end, because, we all do our work so well, they did decide to continue with the journey, making sure that we knew where they were going, that all of the different provinces they were landing in, there were at least somebody to talk to or somebody to phone if there was an incident. And that gave them the confidence to continue. They ended up in Cape Town, had a wonderful holiday, apart from that one issue. Now, that to me is a great success. And even if we have a bad incident, as long as they leave here saying, we really felt cared for. That's the whole idea around that. The travel ambassador, depending on the situation, also manages the medical and the security. So to make sure that we've got the ability to take this further, medical, insurance, etc. And then from a security point of view, like police statements, what needs to be get back? What do we need to get back? The case numbers that we need, etc. Yeah, and then just keeping in regular contact with them to make sure as they continue either with their travels or return home that they are in a good place. So that's a very quick overview of what the travel ambassador, the aftercare, is about. But I just want you guys to remember, so two main things is that if you have a process and you understand it, you feel much better when that thing happens. Natalia spoke about earlier about the, staying calm and following the process. It really does help. So we would love to be able to do some kind of training for all of the guides or potential tourism ambassadors. And yeah, so it's that staying calm. And now I can't remember the second thing I was going to say.
Oh,
thank you, Natalia.
okay. It'll come to you when you're driving. Just a reminder that this is being recorded and we will share the recording and the PowerPoints with you. In the chat, I have put the hotline number in, the 0833182475 number in, should you have an incident that you are wanting to report. I know Andre has been furiously answering questions in the background, but I thought perhaps we would just touch on some of these just in case you guys had not seen them. Let me just see which ones. Does the app also provide advice, like not paying cash to traffic police and not to stop for unmarked vehicles? Hanli.
So let Andre go first and then I'll add.
Okay, Andre.
So it's not real-time advice, but we will be uploading the traveler safety tips that we have generated and already pushed out to the industry. We're in the process of incorporating that into the app.
Great. Is there a built-in feature?
Sorry, can
sorry,
I interrupt there quickly?
Sure.
So we have the basic safety tips, which Andre said that SECURA safety tips, which will be on the app. But also remember on the SATSA website, we have resources now, and there's a whole section which I'm still building on, and it's at this stage just for South Africa, but we do want to put the regions on there, and it's a lot more detail. The idea is to have, I mean, it's like I think I did a 40-page safety tips, which nobody should have. But we broke them up in sections. So that's including your unabridged birth certificates, traveling to South Africa, all of those things. We're going to separate that. They are separated into sections, and we will have easy to download PDFs. For instance, if you're a driving in South Africa, Natalia has done amazing work, and it's really just about pulling that all together, having it on the website. So you can either copy from there, have it on your own websites, download the PDFs, however you want to use it, but please make sure that you use the resources. Thanks.
Awesome. Is there a built-in feature where the app auto renews? So many do. What is there a built-in feature where the app auto renews like so many do? This could cause issues with international guest billing if they're not aware. Andre?
So yeah, that was a bit of a learning curve for us. If you buy via the website that we've showed, info@SECURA Traveller, it's a once-off payment. If you go via the App Store, it's controlled by them, and those auto renew. So you can actually download the app and purchase it via the App Store. Then you will have automatic renewal. But if you purchase it via our website, once off.
How does the SATIP 24 crisis call facility relate to SECURA?
Separate services. SATIP 24 crisis call looks after SATIP insurance broker clients. And it's there to protect the operator. It's not linked to the emergency response services, security-wise, medical-wise, that SECURA Traveller is. Sorry, I do wear a few hats, but...
Yeah, don't worry. So do I, Andre. You're in good company. How soon after an incident do you activate the NIC, RIC? Having dealt with this, are you first to stabilize the situation and then inform the bigger departments?
Yeah, so it's immediate. So as soon as that goes through the op center, National Incident Control, regional is notified. Generally, the stabilization and aftercare support is delivered regionally. If the capacity is not there, we handle it nationally. And we only escalate it beyond our immediate groups if necessary, which is very seldom.
Okay, how on board are private hospital groups to welcome TAs and work with us when clients are the ambassadors, when clients are admitted to hospitals and casualties?
So SECURA Traveller immediately would take out of preference to private hospitals. By that stage, we would have determined what travel insurance is in place or what medical aid is in place. And unfortunately, if there's not sufficient travel insurance or medical aid, we have an issue. And the point in case of the Brazilians, I won't mention figures or numbers, or maybe I can. You know, Mill Park, we're requiring 1.5 mil per person to welcome them through the door. And you will understand that a lot of travel, correct me if I'm wrong, how many people had travel insurance? How many didn't out of 4?
2 out of the 4.
2 out of 4 had
remember
no
that.
insurance whatsoever. And the other one, I believe, had insufficient cover on their travel insurance policy. So it's absolutely vital. We're not doing our job if we don't insist that travelers have appropriate insurance.
Yeah, 100%. To ensure I understand correctly, who do we need to notify if there is a tragic accident to assist the international family with all that Hanley is describing? Or does this automatically happen when the panic button has been pressed and the incident gets escalated internally?
Through SECURA Traveller, it all happens automatically.
Amazing. Okay.
And the hotline, mind you.
And the hotline,
Yeah.
yes. We have pasted the number for the hotline in the chat. It's 083-318-2475. So to summarize, what you should remember, the SECURA Traveller website, go have a look at it, download the toolkit. Remember the hotline number, 083-318-2475. Remember that you have a duty of care to your guests, to your travelers, to your visitors, and try and make sure that you are promoting the SECURA Traveller app so that they understand what is available to them and what we are doing to try and keep them safe. If you are interested in signing up as an ambassador, Hanley, I think you've got a Google Sheet, hey, that you, yes, there it is.
I actually just posted the survey link in the chat.
And if I can, I know Kim, if you can just hear me on, she's one of the attendees. Kim, can you just make sure that all of these links, when we send the recording out with the PowerPoints, that you're sending all of these important links? Thanks so much, Kim. Great. You are our foot soldiers. We rely on you to tell us what's going on, but we rely on you to tell people what we are doing and what they should be doing. So please make sure that you spread the word. What have I missed, Han and Andre? Anything else in summation?
Just one thing from my side, just to add, like I say, you're our foot soldiers. So if you're in a particular area that's got a paramedic or a security response company that you guys trust and believe in, send us that information. We'll get them plugged into SECURA Traveller. We do only work with, out of preference, obviously registered SECURA security companies, and then intermediate and advanced. We try not use basic life support on the ambulance side. But you know what, if that's the only resource, we'll use it, but intermediate or advanced.
Cool. Han, anything from your side? Parting shots?
No, thank you very much. Just to everybody to sort of keep looking at our communications and website. We will be doing the training. As I said, we are going to get smarter and smarter about this as we go forward. But I really want to get the tourism ambassadors, so everybody familiar with the process of what happens when a crisis hits. That's it. Thanks.
Dirile, the SECURA Traveller contact number, if you go to securatraveller.coza, all the info will be there. So I've just pasted that. Oh, no, I haven't pasted it. I've given it to Debbie. Debbie, you don't want to see that. Everyone, and go. There we go. www.securatraveller.co.za. We will include that as a link when we're sending the stuff out. Okay. Hey, we've given you 4 minutes back. You guys can go and make some coffee. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Thank you to Andrea and Hanley, who are like the most incredible tag team on earth. I don't think we could do this if we weren't doing this together somehow.
Yep.
There you go. Exactly.
And thank you to all of you guys for supporting us and for being our foot soldiers. Really, this doesn't work without you. So we really are relying very heavily on you to be at our sides. Cool. Enjoy your 6th of February. We will chat again soon, I'm sure. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.